What's up, guys? Rambling Collector back here with another DC Comics Ramble. And I gotta tell you guys, I'm actually really excited to talk about this one with you all because I'm going to cover someone who has become one of my all-time favorite characters now. Because to be quite honest, a lot of people call him the Deadpool of DC Comics. And just from reading his first few, I can honestly agree with that comparison. So today, you guys, I'm going to cover some of the comic miniseries as well as one-shots of one of the craziest, downright, absolutely insane DC Comics characters, Lobo. Let's get right into it. So, to start off with, we are going to begin this video with the first Lobo miniseries, known simply as Lobo, or Lobo the Last Zarnian. And I like how this gives us a front row seat to Lobo as a character. It explains his backstory, as well as gives us some of his present time as a interstellar bounty hunter. And I gotta tell you, this was a great way to introduce the character. I cannot tell you how much I was absolutely on the edge of my seat, but also cackling with glee every time I looked at this guy. So, like I said, it covers Lobo and who he is, and how he earns the title of the Last Zarnian, because he is the last of his kind, the Zarnians, after he quite literally destroyed his entire home planet, as well as his entire species. So to give a little backstory, the Zarnians as a whole were a very peaceful and technologically advanced race, who were seen as more philosophical but also peace-loving. Lobo, you could say, is their dark side, or the simple bad apple of their species, because he was completely bad to the bone. Hell, his birth showed just how messed up and crazy Lobo is, and we actually get glimpses of his life as he was growing up, and just how absolutely insane he was. Hell, as a toddler, he actually built himself a motorcycle just because. As well as his school life, you could definitely tell the difference. One of his teachers graded him harshly, but then the next one gives him a full-on passing grade, probably because they were intimidated by this guy. But dear God, I love how just over the top this whole thing was. We get Lobo's introduction, how he came to be, how he became the last Zarnian, what the heck he did with his whole race, as well as not only that, but he was actually assigned for a contract which reveals a precious cargo that he has to transport, which, as it turns out, would be a fellow survivor of his race. And it would turn out it would be one of his old teachers, the very same that was brave enough, probably the only one who was brave enough to actually call out Lobo on his bad behavior. And dear God, the banter between these two, because Lobo is trying to keep his patients, to keep her alive because, well, she's a contract. He has to honor his contracts because that's what Lobo has. He has a sense of honor in keeping his bounty hunting contracts, but she does not make it easy for him. Just calling him out on all of his bad behavior, annoying him half to death. It was great. I really expected Lobo to snap by the end of it, and I was not disappointed. And honestly, I love the front cover for the third issue of this little 4-issue miniseries, where Lobo's just locked up in chains and he's just going, "Alright, now I'm mad." And that's honestly what I could picture Lobo as, just like that deep space biker-esque tone to him. And I gotta say, Lobo was absolutely fantastic. And immediately after picking up these 4 comics, which I was lucky enough to actually get all 4 issues of his first miniseries in a nice little package with all 4 of them in really good condition. So I was lucky, you guys. I cannot say I regretted that purchase ever. But yeah, Lobo fills out the bounty, but then what does he do? He kills his old teacher to live up to that moniker that he has of being the last Zarnian. I absolutely liked how he was all surprised that he actually missed one. And then he's just like, you know what? I'm still going to keep this moniker. Bye-bye. You annoyed the hell out of me. Kablam. And that was just to introduce us to this character. Keep that in mind. It was just absolutely wild, with people trying to chase him down, trying to shoot him just because of how infamous he is. All leading up to him trying to keep this woman alive just to kill her out of spite. I loved it, but now let's move on to his next miniseries. Alright, so moving on to the next series, Lobo Is Back. So, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the first miniseries was funny, but this miniseries had me cackling for very good reasons. It's just absolutely insane that you could only see this in comic books. But anyways, so Lobo's Back is what I would say is the sequel miniseries to the first Lobo miniseries, but here's where it gets funny. So the first two issues have the joke of showing only Lobo's back, which I think is absolutely funny, but here's where it's better. So the plot of this miniseries is that Lobo is tracking down a bounty, and he gets killed in the process. However, during processing in heaven or hell, he gets kicked out of both heaven and hell for very good reasons. So, when Lobo is sent to heaven, he gets kicked out because he somehow turns heaven into this heavy metal concert with a harp, or lyre, if you want to be accurate, and somehow he has all the angels, or heavenly guys, beating the crap out of each other as he's singing death metal. Just, he brings chaos into heaven, and I absolutely love that. But then, here's what gets even better. They switch him around, put him down into hell, but then they kick him out because he's having too much fun. Just, the devil drags Lobo out of hell, saying, "Get him out of here. He's having way too much fun with this." Honestly, if that doesn't get a chuckle out of you guys, I don't know what will. But, so, they try to give him the reincarnation shtick, right? However, they screw up his first incarnation, or they send him to a different time period, but in the body of a very ugly and disfigured woman. To the point that as Great Britain in that time period that he's been sent to is getting bombed, he's just waiting for it to happen. And it's just like, alright, put me in the right body. It just keeps going and going in a constant loop. Just this entire miniseries is just for fun, you guys, and I cannot recommend it enough. Especially with how the art style really goes over the top with its nice dark colors, sharp angles, but just overall comedy. That's the main point of it, though, you guys. It has this nice contrasting of dark and bright colors with that old hand-drawn 90s style, and yet just the insanity of it will keep you reading, you guys. Oh my god. Okay, but let's talk some more about the art style, shall we? Alright, so all you guys and girls, moving on to the art style, I absolutely love Lobo's artwork here, especially his 90s incarnation, because I got a bit of an appreciation for older comic books just because you can tell that there was a lot of effort put into this. Now, I don't know if there was digital coloring back then or if it was just hand-drawn and colored, but if it was hand-drawn, kudos to the artist for nailing this over-the-top look for the 90s, with all these sharp angles, bright and dark colors, and just how all the characters look so exaggerated. Like, you have some who are like uber buff, like Lobo, and some of the bounties he takes on, or you have the females who are like super attractive with like hourglass figures. You can tell that this just screams 90s with its color style and artwork, and I absolutely love it, you guys. Especially Lobo's hair. For some reason, all the way through, they always make Lobo's hair look like he just got wired by an electric current. And that actually gets a bit of a chuckle out of me every time because it makes him look absolutely crazy. Like he just does not care about his personal looks. He just cares about being the baddest dude around and tracking down any bounties to keep himself going. So, I gotta give credit where credit is due. I absolutely love all this artwork here. I love how over the top it is, how bright and colorful it can be at one point, and then just how dark it can be the next. The sharp angles, the over-exaggerated bodies. I absolutely love it. Just, if any of you are 90s appreciators, you probably will like this too. But alright, so let's keep this moving, shall we? Alright, so if you all remember, I also said that I would cover a couple of Lobo's one-shot comics. And well, here they are. We have, on the left, we have Lobo, Blazing Chain of Love, which I honestly feel like was probably made for Valentine's Day, just by the cover art alone. And then on the right, you have the Lobo Paramilitary Christmas Special. And I gotta tell you guys, when I was prepping for the holidays, I actually finally read the Christmas one-shot, and my god, I loved it. Okay, so let's first talk about Blazing Chain of Love. This one actually got a few chuckles out of me, but it was still pretty fun to read, just because it shows Lobo tracking down a bounty, and his person that he's looking for, he has an entire colony's worth of wives, but he cannot satisfy them because he has erectile dysfunction. Like, really, dude? You wonder why? There you go. But Lobo is trying to track down the one person in this entire colony of this guy's that pretty much just consists of this ruler's wives. And he just keeps getting jumped by all the women in there to the point that he actually has to stun them with tranquilizers just to keep them from jumping him again. Just the fact that he's getting chased by a horde of women, and at first he's just like, alright, so I can just go ahead and satisfy them. To just, no, make it stop, get the drinks. He's just rapid fire taking all these women down with tranquilizers. And that actually had me cackling a bit, just because even Lobo knows when enough is enough. So the artwork, like I said before, is very well done. It's a lot brighter than any of his other comics. I did notice that. It's a lot brighter, much more colorful, and it's probably just played more for laughs than anything else, is what I get from this. So, to put it simply, this one is definitely fun, and it's definitely good for a chuckle if you want something to read on Valentine's Day. It's just, wow. But, continuing on. So, the Lobo Christmas one-shot. So, I gotta tell you guys, this one I was a little mixed on, and here's the reason why. The Lobo parts were funny. They definitely got me cackling, and I liked that. But the fact that they did it like a Night Before Christmas style story was definitely pretty funny. But I gotta tell you guys, the character designs they came up with for, like, the married couple and their kids is just like, it was just ugly, to put it simply. It was just like exaggeratedly ugly and nasty and ugh. It was hard for me to look at them. But the whole entire story of them just reading what looks like a practical Night Before Christmas type story with Lobo. Oh my god, this part is funny. So Lobo actually gets contracted by the Easter Bunny. I am not kidding with this. He gets contracted by the Easter Bunny to take out Kris Kringle. Because apparently Santa has way too much flack compared to all the others. And just that alone, the fact that you see a drunk Easter Bunny hiring Lobo to kill Saint Nick, if that doesn't grab your attention, I don't know what will. But, so, Lobo tracks Kris Kringle down to the North Pole, where we find out a lot more about Santa himself in the DC universe, or at least in Lobo's mind. He is actually seen as a dictator to the elves, and he was at one point known as Kris Crusher Kringle. And then we get to the fun part. So Lobo was tearing his way through the North Pole, through all the security forces and everything else, leaving a bloody path of carnage in his wake. And yet, we actually get to see him go on a full-on fight against Santa Claus and win. I'm not kidding with you guys when I said that I enjoyed this immensely, and I actually found myself laughing a lot. Especially when Lobo takes it upon himself to take Santa's sleigh and drive around on Christmas Eve trying to deliver the gifts. Oh man, that was just pure, unadulterated chaos. And I gotta tell you guys, this is why I love Lobo. You just can't take this guy seriously. You just can't, especially with one-shots like these. You just can't take the guy seriously. You just read him just for the laughs, I swear. Alright guys, but I've been rambling too long, so I'll go ahead and wrap this up real nice. So, as you all could probably just tell, just from these alone, I've already become a fan of Lobo, and I will definitely be checking out more of his comics just for the laugh and just for the fun. Because to me, Lobo is just that kind of guy. You cannot take this character seriously, and you just watch as he does all these crazy over-the-top acts and gets away with it every single time, just because he is just that powerful and he just doesn't care. So I will definitely be checking out more of Lobo's main series, and I'll probably do a review on it sometime in the future, just because this guy is too fun not to talk about. But anyways, if you guys know any other crazy comic book characters you'd want me to cover or talk about on this channel, please let me know in the comments section down below. And thank you all for listening, and in the words of the main man himself, Happy friggin' New Year.